morning, everybody. Just checking my audio right now. I had to move a few things around, so I want to be sure you guys can hear me. Uh, let's see who's joined us today. Arkansas, the pre-show entertainment. That can be interpreted in several different ways, sir, so we got to be careful on that. Loretta, hello, hello. Sorry, guys. A little bit early. I know usually I'm either first thing in the morning or in the afternoon, but I had a few things coming up. Oh, 15 inches of snow and it's still going. Are you guys getting that ice layer too, that glaze on the highway? Because it warms up just enough to thaw and then refreeze? Because that's bad stuff to drive in. Hey, Lucky. Buenos dias. 5x5. Thank you. Thank you. Did I miss anyone? Militant. Hola, hola. Stewarts. Hello. So, all right. So, show of hands, I guess. Besides heroic, who's got snow right now? We just got cold, and actually, it's turning really nice today out here in Texas. Mm, yeah, it is slick as all hell. I can, yeah. Oh, you got rid of the bear, dude. I know you changed stuff, but heroic proper. The bear I originally thought was a frog because I had no glasses, which is kind of embarrassing now that I think of it. But look, mono hands. There you go. So I'm assuming a no snow for Arkansas. Um, it's is it me or has it been a really really weird week? Putting up a video in about an hour with some footage. Oh yeah, please do. Be sure to check heroic stuff out. Um, and by the way, for those of you who have not seen, Northern Girl is in the midst of the Canada convoy, the Freedom Convoy, I think they're calling it, and it's a boatload of trucks have basically clogged up Ottawa, which is pretty cool. So she's doing a live on Instagram now. She did a live on YouTube earlier, and I don't know if she has other platforms like TikTok or something. So sort of slept in almost 8, scared Loretta even. Oh man. Well, you could just be tired, man. You do have a lot going on, you know. It has been weird. And I think Texas is less weird than a lot of other places because I think like if I was in New York City right now, it would be super strange. Um, yeah, I'm not sure. Weird is the new norm. Yeah, it is weird. It has been a weird week. So I had an article for you guys, and by the way, I don't have a lot of specifics. I don't know. I guess everyone's minds are gone this week, so I have a couple of topics, but I really don't have a whole lot. So if you guys want to dig into something as we're going, feel free to throw something out there. Uh, but I wanted to show this video. And oh, you broke your foot, Pilgrim. What the heck, dude? And you've got a munchkin in the house now, don't you? Was it work or was it like at the house as opposed to work? Okay, so Lucky's gig, she's dealing with some people in the public. Would that be a fair thing to say? And my somebody close to me works at a call center, and they said they don't know what happened in the last 2 weeks. It seems like oh, it was at home. Oh, yeah, because if it was at work, you could have done a workers' comp, and at least they would have paid for the doctor and the other, the routine. But I'm sorry to say that. Yeah. So other people, I'm not awakening. You need more coffee, Joe. That's all. Um, so this person close to me works at a call center where they take calls for help, and told me that whatever happened, they don't know in the last couple of weeks, but the schizophrenia came out in people in calls. Among the calls were, "I'd like to order an exorcism kit," which is not a product this company offers, "because my dog is possessed." And at first, they were like, "All right, yeah, your dog is possessed. You've been drinking, and this is funny." Then, over the conversation, realized they were dead serious. This person actually believed someone was possessed. Um, we've had cops reporting somebody decided that it was appropriate in 30-degree weather to take off all their clothes except their boots and skivvies, apparently, and run down the highway for no reason, just flapping his arms like, "Ah," and so the cops didn't know what to do, so they just kind of followed him with their lights on until he got tired. And then they asked him, "Do you want to go in the police car?" And he said, "Yeah." And he just sat in the car. They have no idea why the guy did it. He woke up 2 hours later, no recollection of what had happened. So, yeah, crack is whack. Don't take stuff like that because then weird shit happens. So, yeah, and I need shooting. Uh, yeah, it's not something I would think of for your must have been a TikTok video. No, I don't know what it was, man. Um, oh, the idiot running down the street. Yeah, I don't know. 30-degree weather, I wouldn't be running down any street in Texas. And then you have tumbleweeds out here that can grow to be about 4 feet in diameter, which is basically a dead mesquite bush. And that's full of thorns. That hits you, and that would be the worst video you've ever made. I mean, everyone else would think it was cool, but it would suck for that person. Um, yeah, trying to keep the germs going because, yeah, otherwise it would cause a lot of problems. So, I got this article from Reuters. I can't say their name. Just to kick us off, it might have been Flocka or maybe meth. I don't know. There's no video on this one, guys. So this is just a article. Um, so Ukraine has called up their reserves. It says Mikhailo is a lawyer, Alexander's an IT programmer, Konstantin is a freelance advertising writer, and basically it's the Ukrainian National Guard. Yeah, I agree, Lucky. I think what's happening is people who were getting treated stopped. People who were getting meds may not find them because of the supply chain. And I think people just got disconnected from their support structure, their family, their friends, even the local bar. There's something to be said to, you go to a local watering hole or a local restaurant, you see the same crowd, and you're like, "Hey, how you doing today?" And it's like a little social thing, even if they're not family. And I think that all went away. Yeah. You guys want to see something ugly? It's crocodile. I'll see if I can find an article on it because that stuff's horrendous. Um, so anyway, yeah, these guys are the Ukrainian version of our National Guard. These folks are basically trained civilians, and all of them are called up. So right now they've got 120,000 troops around the border of Ukraine, all in Belarus, Crimea, and Russia. And Ukraine has I guess they're saying up to almost 130,000 reservists plus their regulars. So, yeah, this is true. Okay, are those the same thing? Okay, then yeah, that would definitely explain it. Um, so anyway, yeah, these poor reservists are getting rolled up. Notice something here, though. This guy's wearing ACUs, but this guy's wearing the Ukrainian camo. He's got a Kalashnikov. This guy's got what looks like an HK 416. Um, Homeboy over here looks very US Army ish. This guy does not. I don't know if you guys can really see that, and I don't know if I can expand this picture. No, it will not let me. So, hey, North Carolina, go. Hello, hello. They've been back and forth. It could be some people claim it's a distraction, uh, or so it could be a distraction, or I would propose it could be they know something we don't, and they're trying not to tell the public because Germany just sent soldiers into Lithuania to reinforce them. France put people in Romania, but the US troops haven't technically moved yet because Biden said he wasn't going to move anyone. And so technically he kept his word. Everyone else is moving, but he kept his word. You see what he did there. So um, I don't know, Joe. It's weird. Wow, I put a lot of sweetener in that coffee. I guess I lost count. I'm gonna be lit in about an hour. If I start talking really fast, just tell me to slow down. But yeah, these guys and girls are getting ready. Oh, and there will be no page for you. So that was the end of that. Yeah. So interesting though. Lucky you saw those uniforms, right? Because I know you're part of a military family also. That's probably it may be dated. Very possible. Very possible. And I got another story about those particular individuals. You have in US power line. Amen to that. Um, has anyone actually lost power with this big? They keep saying this bomb cyclone. We used to call them blizzards when I was a kid, right? And sometimes the light went out and sometimes it didn't. There was one that literally when it was 4 feet of snow in New York City. And you know what the kids did? We waited for the plow trucks to come, and then we made teams, and we had two walls on either side of the street, and we just went to our sides. We had 30 minutes to build a fort, and then we had a massive snowball fight till one of us threw a snowball at a police car, and then he told us to go home. But I don't know. A bomb cyclone. It's a freaking blizzard. Um, I'm waiting for it to blue. Hmm. That has almost happened by accident in recent incidents. Still have power in Virginia, and Jennifer still got power. Sure, gonna. Hey, now I happen to be a Gen X person, so um. Anyway, which explains why sometimes you'll every now and then you'll catch me in a mood and I'll say bad things. Uh, I've been admonished at work that I should not call people asshats, mushroom heads. Told someone they're being a drunk pelican. I don't know where I got that one from. So, but it is not as dramatic though. Bomb cyclone. You know what they're doing? They're scaring the Gen Z kids. Uh, it's funny. Speaking of Gen X, I went to Best Buy the other day and I had this little turd going. You know, he was helping an older guy who was way older. Like this was definitely someone in the boomer generation. Then he comes to me and he sees, I guess, a little gray, and he's like, "Well, sir, in our generation, we do this." So I started talking very technical to him, and his eyes bugged out. Like I exceeded his capacity to understand technology. And the manager comes over and he goes, he needs help. And during the conversation, they realized I'm an engineer who like has used every computer since the Commodore 64 to the MacBook Pro. So yeah, I kind of know connections. I understand the stuff, but my generation, pendejo. Anyway, um, saying there goes. Okay, love to see. Cat lady went out of power, and she's got folks who are recovering at home. That's not bueno. Only a few inches of snow. See, that's good. That really kicked Texas's butt was the snow ice, and it covered all those big solar fields we have out west. Hmm. So let's see. There was an article I wanted to show you guys. Now I got to find it regarding Governor, what's her name? Hochul mask mandate. Because somebody went off on her, and it was awesome. And now I can't find it. I'm really upset about that. But so in any case, here's the let me see if I can get the video to play. This individual, let's call them that. It's not bad. It's some tumor tongue in cheek, y'all. I know. Okay, so guys, just lucky myself. There's a group of us that get very snarky with each other just because it's fun. So yeah, for those of you who have no context, she was not being offensive. She was being fun. So we have to, I'm glad you thought to explain that. I never thought of that. That somebody might be like, Governor Horchata. Oh God, horchata is such bad stuff. Ugh, that is not a Puerto Rican dish. I don't get it. Okay. Let's share this because this is not playing nicely. Sure. So, uh, Horkel extends New York COVID mask mandate as appellate court hears the appeal. So basically, the first court case was in Long Island, and the mask mandate got overturned for small children on the argument that the CDC has basically said the likelihood of small kids dying of the Rona who are not already suffering like cancer or something like that is so low, it's not really necessary. The CDC said it. So the court said, why do we have it for little kids? But when they went to the appellate court, and this was the judge being a little bit not conservative like Republican, but more conservative in the judgment, said the ruling, the law or the mandate will stand until we can hear the appeal. But yeah, Joe, it's all over the map, honestly. The mandate, which applies to all indoor public places, including teachers and students, was set to expire February 1st. We're going to extend through February 10th. So um, it's been challenged, but uh, it's been challenged, but it hasn't been overturned because the appellate court is going to leave it in place until such time as they can hear the arguments and they can make their own judgment. So um, right now, not a lot folks in New York can do. I know certain counties are just refusing to enforce it, but overall, there's not really a lot uh, folks can do. Now, in Canada, they're having the whole convoy. So, again, those of you who haven't seen it, go check it out. But let's see. Let me see if I can find that. There we go. I'm trying to find the article where this individual was really riled up because I just thought it just made me so happy to hear it. And I can't find it. I'm really bummed right now, guys. Sorry. Well, in any case, oh, here it is. All right, let's see if I can do this without the with the audio. No. And that's an important thing to talk about. You know, I've and the debt, it's not even like the mortgage debt, it's the credit cards and buying everything on payment because basically a lot of these payment plans become a card with their 30% freaking interest rates. And a lot of the younger ones don't know how to manage that because nobody's really taught them. Uh, yeah, there is Structures is using a 19. Mm, okay, I actually had one of those computers back in the day. And I remember my brother and we were playing some weird video game. You remember how the video games were with the little squares and a face, and like the face hits the square and you get a point, whatever. We're playing in it and it died. And we're like, So we literally opened the computer. We looked at all the boards. We're like, hey, that one's burnt. And you go buy another one for $10. We stuck it in there and bam, new computer, right? Eventually we killed it. But yeah, they will literally have a heart attack. Okay, here's the article. I found it. Let's see if I can get it to come up here. I'll probably get in trouble with the tube for this one. So, voter disgusted with president says the party has become unrecognizable. I am seeing my party headed in the wrong direction. This individual went on to say, in a year in, and I'm disgusted with them both. I'm disgusted with the vice president and the president, according to this individual, who is a openly person who supports the party. He's voted for the Democrats in the last 4 elections. He was afraid how far-left candidates like Sanders and Warren would govern, thinking the current choice was bringing them back to the middle. But he said, I don't like where we're going with COVID. He also said the extra restrictions, mandates are not helping. And he also said that, where is it? You need to listen to me carefully. The fact I am a blue-collar Democratic worker, that should scare you. So be safe, Jennifer. Take care. So, yeah, a lot of displeasure in the party. A lot of them with the mandates. I think that's an ongoing battle. Folks just don't really think they're necessary. So it's always a challenge when you have a lot of things in play. You can't make everyone happy, but when you have that complaint across the board where everyone's saying, hey, we don't like this, that's probably important to listen to. So we'll see where that goes. For those of you who are dealing with some of this nonsense, I'm sorry. That's just that's a bummer. I think I was in 8th grade when we got our 486. Oh wow, Windows 3.1. Yep. So true story, we took our young adults to a local theater that has a theater, arcade, it has a bowling alley, it's this massive thing. And we challenged them to a Galaga and Pac-Man competition. And we burned all the 20-year-olds and all the teenagers. It was so awesome. They didn't know how to function with one joystick and 2 buttons. They couldn't compute. It was great. Take care, Jen, and be safe out there. So I got some articles from Fox Business. Let me see if Fox Business will come up. And this one's one for everyone to watch, guys, because I honestly think that this particular aspect of our economy can really hurt us, and it tends to change very quickly. Let me see if I can get this video going, and bear with me just a second here. And of course, I got a commercial, so give me a second here. So, by the way, Amazon's hiring, which is what the commercial is, if those of you want to work for them. I say that sarcastically, by the way. And they provide health care and 20 weeks fully paid vacation. Did not know that. Okay, let's pull that up and let's see what these folks are going to say. Hold on. Hold on. Let me back out of that again. I know I lost the audio there. I could tell the minute I brought it up. Let me see. Share screen. There we go. Okay, let me know if you can't hear the audio, gang.
With your revenue number, because when you look at your quarterly report through that prism, year over year, the jump is pretty historic. You know, the world a year ago had stopped due to COVID restrictions. What is demand like today compared to, let's say, the pandemic low point?
Well, it's come back significantly, as everyone recalls during the low point. Economies in the United States and around the world really were locked down. People were staying at home, and even we'll remember the shelves sometimes weren't filled with the goods people were looking for. So we've seen a strong recovery from that, and yet not a complete recovery.
And the current quarter, if I could ask you about that, because as we look at what demand was in the most recent quarter, how much better or neutral or worse does it look? Can you give us an idea?
Well, it's a path of continued recovery, really. And I think in the most recent quarter, we don't necessarily see what some people worried about was this latest coronavirus variant having the effect of kind of pulling economies back to where they were last year. We really do see continued progress, and it's a little different in different parts of the world. But broadly speaking, it's a sort of continued economic recovery, and certainly as we move into 2022, that picture holds.
The surprise 6% dividend hike to what, $1.42, that came out before your numbers. That really caught the market's interest and investors' interest. The dividend increase and the company's existing share repurchase program means Chevron is going to distribute more than 40% of this year's cash flow to investors. At the same time, your CapEx isn't exactly electrified. How should investors interpret that?
Well, I think they should, first of all, understand that we had another record quarter and a record year when it comes to cash flow. So the fourth quarter was the second quarter in a row where we had all-time high free cash flow. And for the full year of 2021, our cash flow was 25% higher than the highest year in our history. So we're generating strong cash out of our business, and more of that is being returned to shareholders. A 6% dividend increase. We're able to reinvest in our core business and keep it very healthy, and return even more cash to our shareholders.
And believe me, shareholders don't complain about that. But I want to take you back even well before the pandemic. You're a very long-time employee at Chevron. When you took over as CEO in 2017, where back then there was an oil glut and a collapse in prices. Now you're dealing with the exact opposite scenario. Oil hit $90 a barrel earlier this week. And I mean, you look at Wall Street's $100 a barrel forecast by this summer, that suddenly doesn't look so lofty. What is your price outlook for, let's say, the spring? Forget the summer, the spring, and Americans, even though they're still not driving as much as they did pre-pandemic, what are the factors that would push it to $90 or more right now?
Could we see $100 oil? I think we could. We're not far from it right now. And a lot of it depends on things that are very hard to predict that could happen around the world, which is why we stay focused on the fundamentals of safe and reliable operation, efficient execution of our capital spending and our projects, and in meeting the needs of our customers for our products. We are in an upcycle. There's no doubt about it. We're coming out of a period of time where demand had collapsed, and there was concerns that there was so much supply we wouldn't have places to store it all. And so during 2020, supply had to contract simply to recognize the fact that the demand had collapsed so significantly. And as this has turned, we're seeing that supply now is struggling to keep up. Inventories have been drawn back down, and we are seeing that reflected in prices. And of course, we also now see geopolitical concerns, such as those related to Russia and Ukraine, are once again creating jitters in commodity markets.
Mike, bringing up Ukraine and Russia, I'm glad you touched upon that. Obviously, any kind of increased tensions could hinder supply more than they've already been crimped. Have you been asked by the Biden administration to prepare for that possibility? And if so, what would you do? Increase natural gas production? Let our viewers know.
Well, I really won't comment on discussions we have or haven't had with the administration, but I will say
Plausible
we're always
deniability.
planning for contingencies, and things happen. We operate around the world, and so we're exposed to events every day in different parts of the world that we need to be prepared for. Safety and the security of our operations is obviously paramount. And then you do look for circumstances where you may be called upon to try to do more. The reality is, in this strong market that we've seen, the incentives are for all producers to be producing as much as they can because the demand is clearly there.
Well, this wouldn't involve private conversations with the administration. President Biden outright has criticized publicly U.S. oil majors for spiking retail fuel prices. In a letter to the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, he noted that you and Exxon were on track to double your profits while American families are paying more at the pump. Now, clearly, no one was complaining when oil and gasoline prices had cratered 5 years ago, and you guys had to shoulder that. And yes, complaining about this situation right now does show a pretty much complete lack of understanding about the boom and bust cycle you guys always endure. But what is your answer to that if you had to face the American people and explain why they're paying so much?
We're a very small player. We're 2% of world oil supply. It's a very large market that trades on commodity market fundamentals, and the prices reflect the supply and demand in the world. And companies like ours do not have the kind of market power that is suggested in the letter that you referenced. A year ago, we lost $5 billion. This year, most recently that closed, we earned a profit again, and those numbers reflect economic circumstances around the world and commodity markets. And if we want to see lower prices, what we really want to see is more supply, and we need policies that encourage investment in supply. And this is a country that's an energy powerhouse. We're the largest producer of oil and gas in the world, and can be for a long time to come if we're allowed to responsibly develop those resources.
Well, that brings us to the breaking news from last night, right? Federal judge blocked $190 million of gas and oil leases the Biden administration had auctioned off in the Gulf of Mexico, saying that the government didn't adequately study or offer a detailed analysis of the environmental impact. So the auction right now is dead in the water. You guys spent about $47 million. You're the biggest spender. What does this ruling mean for the company?
We're studying the ruling because, as you mentioned, it just came out, and we were not a party to this legal challenge. We've got a very large position in the U.S. Gulf of Mexico today. We like the leases that we bid on in this sale to further strengthen that position. This is an important part of U.S. energy security, and frankly, the Gulf of Mexico production is some of the lowest greenhouse gas production in our entire portfolio. So we believe that American energy can and should be developed responsibly for the energy security of our country, to create jobs and the economic vitality that comes along with it.
Before we go, the ESG movement appears to have a little bit of staying power here. Last October, Chevron pledged net zero operational emissions by 2050. Can you please, both shareholders and climate activists, and when will your renewables business begin to really contribute to earnings?
So we outlined some goals for our business to reduce the carbon intensity of our operations, and importantly, to grow new energy businesses alongside our existing businesses. And so we laid out very specific targets to grow our renewable fuels business. So that would be renewable natural gas, diesel, sustainable aviation fuel. We laid out targets to grow hydrogen production and have aspirations to grow both blue and green hydrogen, which are low carbon hydrogen sources.
Well, you guys get the gist of this. Most of the oil companies in the world are government owned, except for the US. So the Chevrons, the Exxons, but the OPEC nations are all government owned companies, and not most of them are not, like Saudi Aramco, which is actually US government has their hands in that. So there's something shady there. But Venezuela, Russia, all these other countries. but it's almost like multiple things are created to make it so that energy prices get higher. Now, as energy gets higher, that benefits certain countries. Venezuela benefits from it. Russia benefits from it. Uh, the U.S. Mixed bag, depending on your sector, but it is going to increase the cost of goods, right? We already have a supply chain issue, and now you got this guy saying, "Oh yeah, well we're going to be, we may have some more shortages," but that's really not going to help. That's really not going to help all of us in the day to day world. How to to get what we need and to get to work. Dreaded seeker, that's a good point. Bad economy, well, we'll fix it unless your country gets burned. But yeah, um, and I did see that one as well, militant. Actually, they had a video of uh, doing a bomb drill. Let me see if I can find that. It was Ukrainian students, high school kids, doing a bombing drill, and I can't find the video, but the kids were totally cool with it. They they did their little drill. They ran into whatever bunker, and then the soldier said, "All right, you can come out. Drill's over." They blew the whistle, and the kids came out. They're joking, no masks, and they're like, "No, it helps us be ready, and we will protect our country." And I'm thinking, a lot of teenagers I know now would be like crying, rolled up under a tree or something. So I don't know, but yeah, uh, yeah, the yeah, it's been an ongoing thing, Joe. You're absolutely right. And the problem is the rhetoric and the positioning of troops. It's a statistics thing to me, right? The more airplanes, vessels, people, tanks you squish into a smaller area, there's more likely chance for interaction. And with that interaction is the possibility of conflict, right? And you're just multiplying it uh, more and more as you increase the density of personnel, uh, you increase the likelihood of somebody screwing up. And yeah, I aliens would be. You should. So I went to sight in my L Rock and walked outside and froze my ass just going to the car. And I was like, I don't have the right clothes for this weather. So I went to the indoor 100-yard range. But yeah, that if you have nice weather, that's a thing to do. And that's something I've said before. Take every weekend, take a couple hours and refresh a skill set. It doesn't hurt. Um, aliens have been here. So was it a space alien or was it a country alien? Super curious now. Anyway, all right. Oh, I found it. I kind of found it. Hold on. News found it. No, that's not the article I wanted. Hold on a second here. It was they actually were talking to the students. There we go. I found it. But look at these. Let me see if they have the video of the kids. Okay, so these are the kids after their little drill. Let me share this with you guys because this is just funny. I don't know if you can see those kids. Let me see if I can expand it. But these kids are absolutely having a blast. Look at them. They're all smiling and uh, it said, "How much explosives do you think can fit in this one?" asked a Ukrainian bomb disposal expert, holding up a blue and yellow owl mascot. And law enforcers organized. They called it law enforcers. This is not an American paper, by the way. Uh, after a series of hoax bomb alerts in the capital of Kiev, and then again, for those of you wondering, this is that asymmetric warfare. You see the hacking, bomb threats that really have nothing behind them, but they force responders to react. They traumatize students. So apparently, to calm the kids, they brought fake ordnance into the school. You know, as a little kid, I would have found this awesome. I'm sure many of you as adults would find this awesome too. But you know, he's just showing the kids all these different things. Kiev blames them on Russia already waging a hybrid war against a former satellite, while also threatening a full-blown invasion. Blah blah blah. The purpose of Russian special services is obvious: to put additional pressure on Ukraine, sow anxiety and panic. Uh, and that's assuming it's the Ukraine and not, like, for all you know, it could be the Chinese doing it to piss the West off at Russia, because then China can go do its own thing out in the Pacific while we're all fighting with each other in Europe. So, have you seen the new flip phones? It's like a retro flip phone for the young kids, but to us, it was like 2 phones ago. But they call it retro for the young guys. Go fig. I know. It looks like when you know when you go into the Army Navy stores and they have all that ordnance, but it says not for sale. It's like, you know, obviously their display. And you're like, I really want to buy that. And they're like, no, man, that's a display. They're showing it to the kids in person. I think that's freaking awesome. The hell cannon. Well, you know, the way the Hamas is building those stupid rockets, I forgot what they're called, the falafel rocket or something or other. And they built this 4-foot rocket and they launched the damn thing like a mile. And I don't think it has much more ordnance than a hand grenade. It really just busts holes in buildings and terrorizes animals, but they're good at it. Retro is cool. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. It is. Speaking of retro, I found my BDUs. I'll have to email you that story the other day, another day. Yeah, but you know, this is what their kids are dealing with right now, and it's interesting. The guys, these Ukrainian security service, I guess that's their FBI's take. He said they've recorded more than 300 bomb threats this year, so far this year, compared to 1,100 for the entirety of 2021. So in less than 3 weeks, they're averaging 100 bomb threats a week. And all that does, it forces them to evacuate schools, disrupt kids' lives, disrupt families, evacuate businesses. Um, and then, of course, Russia has blamed Ukraine for the same nonsense. So, but yeah, I mean, look at the kids out. It's got to be cold. And I'm sure they would rather be inside or go home. But yeah, they got all these little kids out there just, you know, showing them ordnance and whatnot. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. Um, I mean, it's cool and terrible at the same time. And then, and then another business article, which I love, is this one. Check this out. Keep calm and visit the Ukraine. Um, Business Insider. New tourism campaign urges international visitors to keep calm and visit the Ukraine. That's super pretty, by the way. I wouldn't go there now because it's all dark and snow. They have that in the forest, don't they? Not in the. Is it in the Ardennes? Correct me if I'm wrong, Joe. But they do. They have a bunch of volunteers go out and collect ordnance from uh, everything from the Battle of the Bulge to the Blitzkrieg. Um, so the new tourism campaign urges international travelers to keep calm and visit the Ukraine. The State Department has told Americans not to go to Ukraine. Um, And here, somebody mentioned it earlier, Ukraine's president has accused the West of creating panic that could harm the country's economy. And it says Ukraine's main tourism website is urging international travelers to visit the company despite the U.S.'s warnings. Keep calm and visit the Ukraine. And there's no more article. Hold on a second here. Let me see if I can get that opened up. Ta-da. I would visit the Ukraine. Check this out. I should do that. I should take a vacation trip. I got some V days to burn. Go to the Ukraine, do a live from there, and then y'all can watch me get chased away by gunships. that sounds terrible. Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, but they're badass there, right? Like, our, some of our mayors are dingbats. Like, I don't know how they tie their shoes in the morning, and they have a former heavyweight boxer. I think that's pretty cool. Um, and then in the past week, the State Department. Oh, sorry, I clicked it away, and here we go. In the past week, State Department began the evacuation of family members. And then this is Lviv, Ukraine. Despite this, the Visit Ukraine.today campaign is encouraging tourists to experience majestic Kiev, sleepless Kharkiv, fragrant Lviv. I can't say these words. Cozy Chernivtsi, mighty Zafar. I'm not even trying that. Zaporizhzhia. If anyone speaks Ukrainian, please help me here. Hey, Annie. Welcome, welcome. So, wait, Joe said something, and oh yeah, well, France was basically the battlefield of Europe for like 30 years. So, uh, despite this, the blog post added that Ukraine is attractive, friendly, fantastic, special country, and traditional Ukrainian cuisine, including borscht and dry cured pork belly. That looks like prosciutto ham. That looks really good, actually. And I'll tell you what, I went to Europe the last time on business. I spent 10 days there. I ate what I thought was a lot. I still lost 10 pounds. So I absolutely think we eat garbage in America. Just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. So here you have one article telling you they're doing. There you go. That's a new form of vacation. War vacation. Yeah. Um, and actually, we're planning some urban exploration this coming year. So I'm gonna go find, assuming I don't get arrested or run off, abandoned stuff all over the country as I do my rounds, and I'm gonna go into the buildings and do videos of them, and then talk about how that would apply to emergency situations or zombies or whatever, or just look at cool shit. I'm trying to plot out the routes, but it's very hard to get a hold of people to give me permission to go into a place that they don't want people to go into because you could get hurt. So we'll see how that pans out, but that might be something I'm doing this year. I don't know. I like that war vacation. That is a really neat idea, unless there's actually a war. Then it's not. But yeah, I think we eat garbage. Yeah, I really do. I mean, I used to hang out with Croatian engineers who, at the end of the workday, which ended at 3:30, from 3:30 or 3 to 4, they broke out cheese, bread, and a prosciutto ham, and they just sliced it, and they drank pints of beer, and they just talked, and then everyone went home and changed, and then we played volleyball and soccer with stomachs full of beer. I almost died the first day. I was like, "What are you guys doing?" And they were fine. And but then they're also not all obese like we see a lot here. So it's they were fearless, those guys. Yeah, it does sound great until there's incoming. Then again, you can get that in parts of New York City and downtown Houston. So just saying. But fun fact: the only natural occurring vein in Europe from, well, that is just wild, Joe. That is very cool. Pierogies. God, I miss pierogies. I used to get them in Brooklyn. They were so good. They were absolutely good. Of course, they put you in a coma. You eat like half a dozen of those, and that's it. You're done. You're going to bed. So, folks, State Department says don't go to the Ukraine. Ukraine says come visit. So I would recommend visiting the western half of the country. That way, if something pops off, you get in your rental car and drive to Romania and flee. Bring your passport. and some silver coins, which I do when I travel overseas. I actually travel with silver bullion, US or Canadian, in my pocket because sometimes you might have to pay someone in silver. Just saying. And I've been doing that for years. But yeah, it's been, and oh, I didn't know this. Boris Johnson is visiting the Ukraine. Let's see what uh, Ragamuffin here did here. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson will ramp up efforts to defuse the crisis in Ukraine. Will hold a call with Putin, tell him that Russia needs to engage diplomatically. Prime Minister's trip comes as the Pentagon warned that Russia now has deployed, they keep saying the same thing, 100,000 troops. Prime Minister is determined to accelerate diplomatic efforts and ramp up deterrence to avoid bloodshed. Well, good for him. I hope Frazzlehead is lucky. I actually heard through some investigative reporter that some mafia guy who was in prison was dying, right? He was like giving what possessions he had left to his grandchildren and shit. Told the grandchildren that after Hoffa was done away with, they his body was not in one part when it was disposed of. It was distributed across an area. So they did have a guy with a ground search like seismic device at the end zone trying to find something in the stadium. They found something off the end zone and they dug it up and it turned out to be like a log or something innocuous like that. But yeah, go figure. Hey, it is red. It's been really nice here in Texas. Um, oh, wait, hold on. I was trying to get Joe's here. It's a natural deposit. Oh, wow. So basically, all the ordnance decomposed and has become a new deposit of iron. That is just wild. Yes, I saw that, and I actually think Owen Wilson and I forgot the wife's name, Lake Bell, I think her name is. She has like a weird first name. Um, that was a really good movie, and I think Owen Wilson, seeing him in that kind of dramatic role was surprising because usually he's stupid in the movies, right? He's some dingbat. He was very good. That's a really good recommendation, guys. If you want to see like an SHTF while you're traveling situation, that's a really good one. Oh yeah. So in any case, London's Metropolitan Police are currently investigating. Oh, hold on. The Prime Minister's decision to visit the region comes at a time when he's under fire domestically over a number of alleged parties at his Downing Street and other department residences in breach of his own COVID restrictions. London's Metropolitan Police are investigating. Tensions have continued to build in the region, so it's pretty much a regurgitation of what we've been seeing. So, Red, to catch you up, if Red's still out there, the State Department says don't go to the Ukraine. The Ukrainian government says come and visit because our cities are cool and don't listen to the State Department. So if you want to do, what was it we called it earlier? War tourism. There it is, war vacation. Go to Ukraine and then hope nothing pops off. And like I said, stay on the western side of the country. So if it does pop off, you get in your rental, drive to Hungary or Romania and get the hell out. So just saying. But yeah, folks, we're going to keep seeing that weird pricing pressure. They're still talking Ukraine. I think it's just puffery. At this point, and going outside of Texas, at this point, man, I'd have to agree with you. Unless work tells me to go, because that's what they pay me to do. Lately, they've been like, no, stay your ass in Texas. That's where we need you now. So I think that's a great idea, brother. And by the way, if you have not seen Red's knife throwing videos, you got to watch them. There's several shorts and other videos, and they're just fun to watch because that just looks like a hoot to do. Do not throw, by the way, for the record, do not throw knives while intoxicated. Never a good idea. That usually results in stitches. So, and yeah, Lucky's about the same. Although I will go to Louisiana. I will definitely go to Louisiana because if I'm not in Texas for the apocalypse, South Louisiana would be a good place to be as well. Or Arkansas. I hear that's pretty. I've only been there once, so I may have to go back and visit. Hey, I don't know what mods are left on. We're right at the hour mark. If you want to drop links to Red and yourselves and any other channel creators who are trying to build a following, I'm absolutely cool with that. And yeah, because if you search Red October, you get like 500 people. Well, not South Louisiana, though. I do agree. West Louisiana, like Bossier City and Tyler, is like, yeah. But Lafayette is not Houston. It is a little Galveston-ish, but not the same. But folks, feel free to drop some mods if you want to drop Red, Lucky. And today we have found a facility that buys Amazon products that were returned, or you know what I mean, like disposed of, returned, unable to deliver, excess, wholesale that wound up in a warehouse. It's basically like an outlet of whatever. And then you go and look through the whatever and see if there's something useful. So we're going to explore that in about a half hour or so and go see what we find in there. But definitely, Red, if not, you throw your link in the comments because the internet's been acting a little wonky today. But folks, that's about all I got today. Lucky's headed to the hardware shop. Shalom, Arlith. How are you, my friend? Yeah, it's like all this surplus stuff, but from not from military surplus, commercial surplus. By the way, Red, Lucky, to those of you in Texas and Arkansas, all the adjacent states, I'm hearing rumors that a lot of the old oil field stuff and the solar stuff that had to be replaced after the freeze or is just at the end of its life is being auctioned, but I don't know where, so I got to dig into that. Yeah, and definitely don't let the doom and gloom overwhelm you. Go find something to do. Of course, Jackson is defending me from UPS again. Well, folks, look, y'all be safe, Godspeed. And what I'm going to do, we're going to go hit the streets, and I might throw, if it looks really interesting, I'll throw a short video out there about what it is we're doing and, you know, what they have in this facility, this warehouse thing. It is new, so I don't know how well they're set up. I may have to come back a couple of times before I find something good. In any case, guys, be safe out there, travel safe, watch the snow for those of you on the East Coast, the bomb cyclone. But other than that, Godspeed, God bless, take care of yourselves, and be careful out there. Watch yourselves. We'll see you in a few.